More and more expats are making Albania a place to live long-term, and so we wanted to come to Albania to see for ourselves what the pros and cons are for living in Albania. We will share with you what we discovered during our time here. My name is Ryan. My wife Emily and I are the Snail Travelers. Mountain and beach access. You know how people ask you if you're more of a beach person or more of a mountain person? Well, the nice thing about Albania is that you get both. I think Albania is better known for its beaches, so that's where I'll begin. The most well-known beach area in Albania is probably Saranda in the very south of the country. And there's a good reason it's so well known. The scenery here is stunning. I made a whole video just on Saranda that you should check out, so I won't go into the details here. Now, the mountains. When you think of mountains in Europe, you probably think Switzerland or maybe Austria, right? But let me tell you, the mountains in the northern part of Albania are magnificent, as you can see in these video clips. In fact, I think the mountain scenery here rivals that of the Swiss Alps. Wouldn't you agree? And the nice thing is that the mountains and the beach are only a few hours away from Tirana, the capital city. So, in our opinion, access to both the beaches and the mountains is one of the greatest pros to choosing Albania for expat living. The food. Your stomach will be growling after you watch this section of the video, believe me. And I'm going to start with cheese, because cheese is such a big part of the cuisine. Look at this cheese here, fresh out of the oven. Yeah, you heard me right, it's baked in the oven. You can see it sizzling here. It's quite often baked along with tomatoes, and I would almost describe it as pizza without the bread. In other words, just the good part of pizza. Here's another cheese dish that is served with sesame seeds, honey, and jam. The next cheese dish that I'll talk about is called fergus. It's made with what we would call in America cottage cheese, and it's mixed with tomato sauce and peppers, and I think also a drop of sunshine, because it just puts my stomach in a good mood when I eat this. Next up on the menu is lokroer, which looks like a piece of pie, right? And it is sort of like a piece of pie, but unlike pie in the United States, this pie is filled with different varieties of savory fillings. You can see one being made here. One half of the pie has a tomato and onion filling, while the other half has a spinach and cheese filling. The pie is cooked in a charcoal oven, and by the way, this pie is common in eastern Albania, specifically in the city of Korça. Let's talk about bajrak next, which is a chicken pie, but to me, it tasted like a dish called stuffing that we Americans eat for the Thanksgiving holiday. I love it. My favorite Albanian dessert by far is called patula, and people quite often eat it in the morning for breakfast. These are pieces of fried dough, kind of like donut holes served with chocolate sauce or sometimes with honey. And here's another great dessert called 𝗔𝗟𝗕𝗔, or baked crepes. And then also the traditional pancakes that we ordered at a restaurant in Korça. We thought we were ordering pancakes like we would get in the US, but no, these of course are more extravagant. These pancakes could be a whole meal, not just a dessert. The pancakes are stacked in layers with cheese crumbles in the middle and walnuts on top. But the point is, you won't go hungry if you live in Albania, and we think it's one of the best features of the country. Communication. The Albanian alphabet uses Latin characters, so it's a little less intimidating for us as English speakers, I would say, compared to some of the languages spoken in Albania's neighboring countries. One thing that really surprised me is the number of people who speak basic English. The first time I came to Albania in 1991, nobody spoke English here. And by the way, I'm making another video comparing Albania in 1991, so hit that subscribe button so you don't miss that video. A few decades later, English is much more common as a second language, especially among younger Albanians. We still think it's good to learn some of the Albanian language if you want to live in Albania as an expat, but we think the ability to have basic communication in English is another pro for living here. The Albanian people. The people in Albania are amazingly friendly and hospitable. And this is true to us as foreigners, but they seem to be equally friendly toward each other. There were many times when we would see someone run into a friend while walking down the street, and they take time to greet each other and talk to each other. And the friendliness is genuine. And the people are so helpful. Every time we went to the bus station, someone would help us find the right bus, not because they wanted money, but just because they wanted to help. My grandfather was born in Albania, so I like to think that I have some of that hospitality in my blood. But if you come to live in Albania, expect to be welcomed warmly by the Albanian people here. The cost of living. Most foreigners find Albania to be quite affordable. Even in the capital city, Tirana, an apartment can be rented at a reasonable price. A nice, modern one-bedroom apartment like the one you're seeing pictures of here in Tirana goes for about $600, $700, maybe $800 for 1 month on Airbnb, but closer to $400 or $500 per month on a 1-year lease. Restaurant prices are also reasonable. All this food you're seeing here is about $13. Grocery stores are well-stocked and prices are reasonable. In general, we estimate expenses in Albania to be around 1/2 of what it costs to live a similar standard of living in the United States. Now, that's just an estimate. The only way to know for sure what the cost of living will be for you is to come to Albania yourself and live the lifestyle that you want to have. Keep in mind too that although the cost of living here is low compared to many other countries, salaries here are also low. So the cost of living isn't so great if you're living off of Albanian wages. Getting between cities. If you've traveled on buses in other countries, then you know you sometimes want to book your tickets ahead of time so you don't have to worry about it being sold out. But it doesn't work that way here in Albania. You don't buy tickets online. You just show up at the bus station and wait for the next bus. And the buses run frequently enough so that you usually don't have to wait too long. Now, most of the buses here are small, more like large vans than buses, and sometimes the amount of legroom is lacking. Quickfire categories. Let me quickly go through everything else, starting with safety. We feel very safe in Albania, and street crime is not common here, and the chances of being a victim of crime are very low. The sunny weather is another pro. Although it does get cloudy and rainy from time to time, sunshine is abundant for much of the year. Power outages do occur from time to time. It really didn't bother us, but it does happen. Taxes on imported goods can be high here, so buying things like electronics can get expensive. Cigarette smoking is very common in Albania, and sometimes the no smoking signs in restaurants are just suggestions, especially in smaller family-run restaurants. But the good news is that many restaurants in Albania do have outdoor seating, which makes the cigarette smoking a little less overwhelming. Okay, healthcare. I'm rating healthcare as a con. Although the quality of care is considered to be improving little by little. Most routine medical issues can be handled in the country, but a major medical problem might be better handled in a neighboring country. You may have heard that Americans can stay in Albania for 1 whole year without a visa. That makes it one of the most generous immigration policies in the world. But the website I'm showing you here is from the US Embassy from a few years ago when it looked like the policy was changing. Fortunately, it doesn't look like this ever happened, but the point is that immigration policies can change, so always check for the latest updates. So, could we ever see ourselves living in Albania? Well, the answer is yes, absolutely, for all the reasons we just explained. And because my grandfather was born here, there's a little bit of an extra connection to the country for me. Hey, hit that subscribe button that you see there so you don't miss our next video from Albania. Here is a playlist with our collection of pro and con videos from all over the world, and over here we have another video for you to check out. Thanks for traveling with us.